Konnichiwa! Now, buying a full Sega Mega Drive collection isn't cheap, and apparently dipping into the grocery budget will put you on the fast track to divorce. So if I'm going to buy some of the more expensive Sega Mega Drive games, I'm going to have to do the unthinkable. I'm going to have to, for the first time in 20 years, sell some of my collection. If you love your retro gaming, then subscribe to the channel by clicking on a button down below, and you can add some colour to your screen by clicking on the thumbs up button just underneath this video. My name's Mike, and this is the Retro Gamer Boy Show. Now, collecting retro video games is becoming more and more expensive, and so naturally it's at this point I've decided to collect a full Sega Mega Drive collection. Now, up until now I've just been jumping onto eBay, visiting online stores, and before the lockdown happened, went out to my local video game stores to pick up the games that I needed for my collection. And I've kind of got to the point where I've cleared out a lot of the cheap games, the games that are under a tenner, even under 20 quid. And I'm now getting to the point where games are costing 50, 100, 200, 500 pounds a game. And it's time I put some real skin into this collection. Just buying the games is like a bit of skin off the wrist or the back. It's time to get really in there. We're going full on gooch and selling some of my rarest video games in my collection. Now, the Sega Mega Drive, or the Genesis in the States, has seen prices double over the last 6 months for some games. We've got some titles pushing the £700 mark, with games like The Pirates of Darkwater, which is now selling on eBay for £690. The Death and Return of Superman will set you back £500. Echo Jr. can set you back over £300. Mega Man and the Wily Wars is over £300. Castlevania The New Generation, £200. And Alien Soldier, £200. And that 100 to 200 bracket has over 30, maybe 40 games in it that you're spending £200 on. Now, as a collector, I don't sell anything. In fact, I haven't sold anything for 20 years. The last games I sold were Sudoku 1 and Sudoku 2, and it's some of the biggest regrets that I have selling those two games. So how am I going to choose the games that I'm going to sell that will help partially fund my Sega Mega Drive collection? It's a super tough decision, because any of the games that I'm going to have to sell are going to have to be rare, they're going to have to be worth a decent amount of money. And what I don't want to do is sell a ton of games just so that I can get one game back. What I'm looking at is selling some high value, super rare titles that perhaps I've either completed or that I'm not too fussed about, which is pretty hard to find because I pretty much love every game in my collection. Yup, even the EA Sports titles. So where are we going to start? We're going to start with a Gen 3 game with one of my most favourite collections, my Master System collection.
Sega challenges you with the ultimate video game, the Sega Master System.
So this is my Master System collection. It's not huge, it's about 70 games from the overall Master System collection, but I've got a huge amount of nostalgia and fond memories of this gaming system. I bought my Master System by saving up pocket money, birthday money, Christmas money in an actual glass jar. And when I had enough, I bought my Master System complete boxed from a friend of mine. It has some stunning games in it and some super expensive games. Games like Phantasy Star. Now, this game is super special to me. This is a game, the first game that I played with my father cooperatively. I used to map out the dungeons, tell him where he should go next while he played the game. California games, it's not super rare, not super expensive, but I have a lot of fun memories playing this with my friends. Ninja Gaiden, this game was so great when I first got it. The graphics just blew me away, and the front cover art, considering some of the other front cover art that you get on the Master System, is awesome. Selling anything from my Master System collection is pretty painful. I just love the games on this system, but I really want to be able to fund my Sega Mega Drive collection. It's my most favourite collection out of all the games that I have in this room. And so the game that I'm going to sell from this collection is Masters of Combat. Masters of Combat is a fighter like Street Fighter, but obviously nowhere near as good. But the visuals in this game was fantastic and the response from the controls were brilliant. Now this game can sell for up to £300. Now unfortunately I won't be able to sell mine for that much because I'm missing the instruction manual. Like an absolute idiot, I think I lent it out to someone and never got it back when I was a kid. But the box is pristine, the cartridge is pristine, and it's got the little catalogue fold out that you got with Master System games. Now an incomplete boxed version like this, in great condition, can fetch up to £200, and on the low end, around 150. And I'm really hoping this goes to a collector that really will enjoy this game. We're moving on to the Gen 5 consoles for my next super rare sale, and it's from my PlayStation 1 collection. Now my PlayStation 1 collection I think is my second biggest collection in this room. Over 200 games are in here, and there are some super rare and expensive games in it. And after the sale of Sudoku 1 and 2, I really can't bring myself to sell any of these games from the PAL collection. And so the game that I'm choosing to sell is actually a game that I've completed. It's super tough and it's a North American game, Tactics Ogre. Tactics Ogre is a stupidly hard game and it took me forever to finish it. In fact, there's an automation mode on here where your army will go off and train and fight while you go and do other things. I used to leave this on with the computer fighting itself, training my troops for days at a time while I was at university. I eventually completed the game and it is freaking awesome, but I'm never going to play it again. And since my North American collection is limited to maybe 4 or 5 games on the PlayStation 1, although it pains me to sell it, it doesn't hurt me as much as selling Masters of Combat on the Master System. Now my version of Tactics Ogre is mint, super minty. It has everything complete in box, and a copy of this will set you back around £100 to £150. And my hope is that, considering how minty it is, it's going to be at the top end of that price range. Game number 3 is from Gen 5 again, and this time it's from the Sega Saturn, and it's Burning Rangers.
This is big. I found some survivors, and some of them are visitors, not maintenance crew.
That's strange. Our report said that the park was closed today.
I'll send them out. Maybe you can get some info from them.
Hey, are you alright?
Now my copy of Burning Rangers is even more mintier than Tactics Ogre. In fact, I've used and played this game once, and that's because I freaking hate it. There's a ton of people out there that swear by the game. They absolutely love it. But when I first got this, opened it up, I played it for maybe 2 or 3 hours and then just put it down. I just really didn't get on with the game at all. And so this game, since launch, has not been played since, and it's just sat in its box. Now, I had some reservation about selling it, and I think that's just because it's worth a lot of money and it's super rare to get. But in all honesty, it's a game that I'm never going to play again, and I'd rather this go to a retro game collector who would appreciate it way more than I would. Burning Rangers can sell at the low end for about £100 and at the top end for around 190. Moving on to the Gen 6 consoles, and game number 4 is going to be the penultimate game that I'm going to sell from my rare and expensive collection. My PS2 collection is the biggest collection in my entire games room. And it's no surprise because I worked at Sony PlayStation for 12 years. And so picking up games then was cheap as anything. I got some super rare and exclusive games that you can't even buy on this shelf here. Now it's a collection I love, and so taking anything from it was really difficult. But in the end, I decided on Dragon Blaze. Dragon Blaze on the PS2 was the first port, I think, from the arcade of the game. And it's a stunning shooter, although I've never opened up my copy to play the game. That's right, this is a sealed copy of Dragon Blaze. Now Dragon Blaze goes for around 100 to 190 pounds, and I'm expecting and hoping that this goes at the top end of that price range. Now selling it is a little bit painful just because I love the collection so much, but at the same time I looked at it sealed in its wrapper, never opened, never played, and I was kind of like, well, if I'm not going to play it and I'm not going to open it, what's the point of keeping it? Moving on to the final game in my rare retro games collection that I'm going to be selling to help fund my full Sega Mega Drive collection, and it's a game that I really don't care about. I don't mind selling this game at all. I got so many versions of it, it just really doesn't bother me. And that's the Assassin's Creed 2 Black Edition.
Ezio, Leonardo says that the machine is ready. It's at the top of the tower. It's you!
Now this is a special edition of Assassin's Creed 2. It comes with a bonus DVD, this figure and an art book. And to be honest, I'm really not fussed. This game hasn't been out of this box at all. In fact, the figure hasn't. This whole collector's edition has been sitting underneath my shelf for years. And to be honest, if you love Assassin's Creed, you love collecting these figurines for your collection, then this is probably for you, and it's definitely not worth staying around in my collection. Now the Assassin's Creed Black Edition sells for £200 if it's sealed, and then it seems pretty consistent if it's not sealed and in good condition, which this one definitely is. It sells for about £100. So, 5 games from my rare retro gaming collection, 5 games that I'm hoping will generate me enough cash to fund some of this collection over here. It's been super tough to do this. Like I said, I've not sold anything in 20 years. I love collecting my games. Some of these games absolutely pain me to sell, but at the same time, I know I'm going to be able to pick up some awesome games. Games like the Turtles and the Hyperstone Heist. I love my beat 'em ups, and it's a game that I definitely want to get back in the collection. Comic Zone, not super expensive, but something that selling these games will help fund and bring back into the collection. Alien Soldier, the dev team behind Gunstar Heroes made this fantastic game, and I'd love to have that in the games collection. You can be sure that any game that I pick up from the sale of these super rare retro video games are games that I'm going to 1, love, and 2, are going to help contribute to this huge collection of Mega Drive games behind me. Let me know in the comments below what you think about selling rare and expensive games. Is it something that you would do? Do you have games in your collection that you bought when they originally came out that are worth a bit of money now? Would you consider selling those games? Do you think it's worth selling games to fund other games in your collection? I think whatever happens, I'm going to walk away with a tiny amount of regret here, but at the same time, a huge smile as I bring some awesome games into the collection. Remember, if you love your retro gaming, to subscribe to the channel by clicking on my little pixel head below, and make sure you never miss an episode by clicking on the little bell just down there. We also have a ton of back catalogue retro gaming videos, 2 of which you can watch over here.